Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. I know one thing is that anytime you do anything out here, you got to make sure that you do it right. You got to make sure that you're the first on the scene. I really do appreciate everything that I have been afforded from the time that the Athletic gave me the opportunity to write about the FCS during the pandemic, during that unprecedented spring season. I felt like I was the only person out there. Um, I wasn't, obviously. I met a lot of great people out that have been covering and doing things in the FCS space for a long time. Among them, Kevin Marshall. I was able to meet him over at FCS Nation Radio. Formed a friendship with him, and this past season came on with them to help continue to promote FCS football. I have enjoyed it. I look forward to doing it more. I've also been able to expand my palette and do commentary, color commentating for FCS games. I've thoroughly enjoyed that, and I hope that that plate gets bigger as we continue to go along. It's been great things that the FCS has been able to open up and do for me, and so it's a great thing. It's a great honor to be able to announce our first merchandise drop from FCS Nation Radio. It is specifically for the FCS championship title game with Montana State going up against South Dakota State. I think it's going to be, I think it's a fly drop. It's a t-shirt, short sleeve, long sleeve t-shirt, hoodie, white with a fantastic, fantastic image on it. I think it's a collector's item. You're going to want to pick it up. And so I wanted to make sure that I got that out to you guys here immediately because I wanted you to see it first because you've been down with me from the beginning. You've been the peak from day one. So I want you guys to be able to see it. If you're joining me on Twitter, if you're joining me on YouTube, if you're joining me on Facebook, if you're joining me on Instagram, shout out to the Instagram peeps that are able to come check it out. But our Battle Frisco FCS title t-shirt, hood, our t-shirt, our long sleeve t-shirt, and our hood, all available on saylessports.com. The t-shirts retailing for $25, starting at $25. The long sleeve t-shirt is $35 and the hood is $45. Obviously, extra charges for us big dudes out there because they charge us more. But I think it's a fantastic logo, and I'm gonna scroll in on it so you can see it bigger here. You can see it says Battle Frisco, and the shirt is essentially split down the middle. One side is Montana, the other side is Frisco. I'm sorry, is South Dakota State. I think it's a great representation of what we do here at FCS Nation Radio and what we've done over at the website, fcsnationradio.com. Make sure you go and check out all the articles for myself, Lucas Sim, Stone Labanowitz, and Kevin Marshall himself over there. Make sure that you're checking out the podcast and the radio, the national radio broadcast that comes on. Lots and lots of content, and there'll be even more as we go into 2024. But this t-shirt right here, you will not find it anywhere else. The Jackrabbits, or the Jacks as they like to be called, the Grizz, it is a great representation. If you're looking for merchandise that isn't just all Montana State or all South Dakota State, if you want something that is really indicative of the game and what the game is supposed to be, then this is the merch you want to pick up. And you can see off in the background that FCS Nation logo. So if you definitely want to pick this up, make sure that you go to saylessports.com/FCS Radio merch. You'll see it right there. That's saylessports.com. And you can click on the little button that says FCS Radio Merch right there. If you look, it's right up here at the top. FCS Radio National Radio Nation Merch. Excuse me, FCS Nation Radio Merch. Make sure that you check that out. Make sure that you get it in your baskets so that we can get that out to you as soon as possible. There's no guarantee that we're going to have any when we're all in Frisco, but there is a guarantee that you can get it now. So don't wait. Go pick up that merchandise right now. Now, with that out the way, I just want to say I look forward to the times when people get the opportunity to miss me. And I also look forward to the times where I get to miss people. I think so much in our lives because of social media now, we really don't get the opportunity to miss people the way that we used to be able to get, the way that we used to be able to get to miss them in the past. Everything that we've done with social media, everything that we've done with anything has advanced us to the point where we are now like almost intertwined consistently, where we are always sitting here knowing what the other person is doing at any particular time. I don't know if we've ever been in a place where at more than one period of time you can always know what someone's doing. It always gets me to thinking, and I've had these conversations with friends that are men and friends that are women, because obviously I think there are some people who feel differently, right? Like some people really enjoy the fact that they get to keep up with what everyone is doing at all times. But I know for me, and I'll just speak for me, there is something about missing someone. There's something about having the opportunity to say, hey, I haven't heard from you all day. I haven't heard from you in a week. I haven't heard from you in a few days. I haven't heard from you in a month. I miss you, right? My best friends, I don't talk to my best friends every single day. Why? Because I don't have something that I feel like I absolutely need to either tell them or burden them with or give them or pour into them every single day. I'm living my life. They're living their lives. We all have so many different, hats that we wear. We all have so many different roads that we travel that it's not something that I feel compelled to have a conversation with or communicate with every day. But if you get me and my best friends on the phone, we're going to talk for an hour. We're going to talk for 2 hours. We're going to talk for long periods of time. There will be times where we go every single day and communicate, right? There'll be times like that. But overall, there's the opportunity to talk, and then there's the opportunity to just chill and relax. And when I hear from you, it's fantastic. Like I get excited. Yo, I haven't heard from you in ... I haven't talked to you in ... Right? There's a giddiness about it, right? For lack of a better word. There's an excitement. You feel appreciated when someone reaches back out to you and you haven't talked to them in a while, or when you reach out to them and you're having a conversation and you haven't spoken in a while, and when you're talking face to face and you're spending time together and you haven't spoken in a while. There's something that's really awesome about that. There's something that's really fly about it. So why don't we do it more? Right? Why doesn't it happen more? It's because some people cannot appreciate, some people cannot appreciate the idea that you should miss someone. Some people can't appreciate the idea that you might, you might, you might have things that you need to do. You may have things that you have going on in your life that you can't make them the priority right this minute. You can't make them the priority right now. Yes, they can make you the priority. Yes, they can make you they can put you on the forefront of things, but you just can't. It's something that I've had to learn in my time um on how to be a better friend, right? On how to be a better friend, because even relationships start with friendship. I have to be a better friend. There are certain times where I have to be there for someone because they need me to be there for them constantly. And then there are some times that they have to appreciate that I can't make them number one right now. That there's someone else that needs to be number one. That I might need to be number one right now. That there's another friend that I have that I love just as much, that I care for just as much, that I need to be able to prioritize in that way. But in most cases, if you go multiple days without talking to somebody, that person is going to believe something's wrong. If you go multiple days without the type of communication that they like, they're going to believe that something's wrong. I have to check my own ego with it. I do it from time to time when I haven't heard from somebody in a little bit, and I have to remember that they have a life, and their life and my life, we don't go, we don't go. It doesn't coincide. They don't run parallel all the time. There are times where our lives are run parallel. There are times where our lives are run parallel, right? There are times where our lives are congruent. And then there are times where we just need to operate in areas that don't align. It doesn't mean that we don't care or love each other. It just means that right now isn't our time. I've never lost communication with somebody for a period of time, and because I didn't talk to them for a period of time, just immediately downgraded them as a friend. That's something I've never done. I have been hurt at times when I haven't had communication, but for me, that is usually when I haven't had communication in a long. But even then, the moment I get communication, you got me right back in here. You know why? Because I love you. You're my friend, right? Because I love you. You're a family member. Because I love you. You're somebody I want to spend my time with. So it's not going to be as easy for me to move off of you as one might believe. It shouldn't be, at least in my opinion. Like if it's that easy for you to move off somebody, right? If it's that easy for them to no longer be a part of your life, then you have to start asking the question of how important are they to your life, right? How important can you be if it's so easy for me to just move on? I don't know. Like, and so that's where I find myself at in life, not only as a not only as a person personally or in my personal relationships, but in how I move and how I get down in this athletic space. In in football, I really and truly believe that there needs to be times where you miss the game. In basketball, there need to be times where you miss the game, where you have to take a break from the game, where the game has to like take a back burner to other things in your life. You want to know the number one reason why we have so many kids who are decent to good athletes who don't excel, who don't make it far? It's not because they're not good enough athletically. We've seen marginal athletes make it to the highest level. It's because they don't prioritize some of the other stuff that actually helps them to propel them to the next level. How are you going to be a middle of the road athlete, right? By whatever metric you want to use. How can you be fast but not a speedster? How can you be tall but not a leaper? How can you jump high but you're short? There's something that somebody's not going to rock with about you, right? How do you overcome it if your GPA is a 2.7? Like my brother and I argue all the time, and when I say argue, I mean discuss, but we argue all the time about how the importance of athletics and the importance of academics. And while I agree that they should not be together, right? They're together. So if you want to go to college, which is the avenue that most people have to go in order to excel at a level that gets them paid to play, then you need to have great academics. Not good academics, great academics. Because great academics opens all the doors. They can't say, oh, you don't deserve to be here, you don't belong here because you have a 2 point something. If you have a 3 point something GPA, you deserve to be there. You belong there. You know why? Because there are other students at that university. There are students at Harvard right now that got in with a 3 point something something. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you. There are students at Cal. There are students at Stanford that are there with a 3 point something something. Don't let them lie to you. But you know what you can't argue is if you have a 2 point something something, you can't say, well, I'm sure there's a bunch of 2 point something somethings running around, because it's probably not the truth. It's probably not the truth. And the 2 point something somethings that are running around on those campuses, if they exist, you know what they are? They are the 1% of whatever their discipline is. They're the 1% athlete, they're the 1% artist, they're the 1% musician, they're the 1% actor, they're the 1% chemist, they're the 1% engineer, whatever that might be. They are so good at what they do that we have pushed aside the academics. And guess what? They do that for athletes all the time. If you're an athlete out there and you are not the greatest academic, but you are a 1%er, they move doors. They open them up and get you in somehow. If you're the 1%er, a lot of people are running around thinking that they're 1%ers and they're not. Because just by definition, it says there's not a lot of them out there, right? Just by definition, we know that there's just not a lot of people who are 1%ers out here in these streets. So we don't have to act like there's a bunch of 1%ers out here just getting it done. Like there's a bunch of 1%ers out here just mucking up the waters. No, that's not how it works. We know that. We know that. We understand it. And because we know it, because we understand it, we can better attack it. Um we can better advance it, advance the cause, right? That's what we do. That's how we roll. That's how we get down. And so, like missing someone or missing something can be the cause that makes you want to work harder to be great at it. That's the way I look at it. Missing something isn't a bad thing. Missing something can lead you to things that are much better, right? It can lead you to things that are so much better. All you have to do is be willing to be missed or to be willing to miss it, right? How do we ever like restore the fire to do things? How do we ever restore that fire to do things if we never miss it? I'm excited about going to Frisco this year. I'm excited about going to Frisco because the FCS championship is going to be great. At least I hope it is, right? I'm on record as saying that South Dakota State is winning the championship. It's not a disrespect to Montana. South Dakota State has been the class of the FCS for the past 2, maybe 3 years. Remember, they got to the show. They made it there. They made it there with Mark Gronowski as a freshman, as a true freshman. He got injured in the championship game early on, and they had to work with the backup who just wasn't good enough. He then essentially redshirted the next year because he got hurt at the, in the championship game in the spring season, which was like unprecedented. So now he misses the next season, right? They're good. They're good, but they just weren't what they were. He comes back. All of the players come back because they want to get back to that championship. They want to feel what it's like. They do that. And in the process, they take down the juggernaut that is North Dakota State. And then they did something that a lot of people don't do. They almost all came back to do it again. But because this is the beauty of it, right? Because they're FCS players, there is no sit back and rest on your laurels. Because for many of them, this might be the last time they ever play football. This might be the last time we ever get a chance to see them playing football. So they can't afford to rest on their laurels. They can't afford to just say, "Oh, I'm a mailing in. We're just going to walk out here and beat people." They kind of did that, right? They kind of did that versus Villanova, and it almost bit them in the butt. So you know what they did? They locked back in and ran roughshod over a really, really good Albany team. Don't be out here trying to discredit Albany because they lost to the best team in the country. That's like what they do at the FBS level when you lose to Georgia after you beat everybody else, and then Georgia rolls you and they go, "Oh, they were never very good anyway." Wait a minute. I was better than everybody else, but that's what Albany can say. There's no discredit in that. There's no reason to hang your head because of that. You lost to the best team in the country. If you're on the other side of the bracket, you may be able to get past some of these teams, although I don't know, because Montana has been on a mission since they looked like an inept team back in the regular season. And so now this Montana team, this story program, walks into Frisco. New blood, by the way. We got to love it. New blood. So now Montana's back in Frisco. South Dakota State comes back for a second year in a row. And now we get some new blood. It's going to be fantastic down there. I'm going to be there with the FCS Nation Radio crew. I'm going to be down there hanging out. We're going to be going live. We're going to be talking to the people. We're going to be hanging out. And we're going to be covering this great event, like all of the days of it, not just not just the game, but the days leading up to the game. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fantastic weekend. If you're planning your trip, make sure that you get there immediately. You start booking stuff because it's already starting to fill up. Already starting to fill up. I'm so excited. I'm thinking about putting together a pub crawl or a karaoke bar hop like I did last year. So definitely stay tuned for that if you want to hop with me. But make sure that you go out and get that merch. Say Less Sports Tees slash FCS Nation Radio. Make sure you go and check it out, or just go to saylessportstees.com or saylessports.com, excuse me, and then click on the FCS Nation Radio tab, and it'll take you right to that shirt. We want to hear from you. We want you to support. You know what else I was thinking about? Like the Celebration Bowl happened, and I was really excited because again, new blood, right? New blood. We haven't seen Howard in there, and it seems like regardless of who we put in the championship game, it does not matter because the MEAC just finds a way to get it done. Now these shadows are all in my face, and I'm annoyed by it, but we persevere on. But it's like the MEAC just finds a way to get it done, and through the first like quarter and a half, even if you want to say the first full half, it looked like the MEAC was going to find a way to get it done again. Willie Simmons, with his bag of tricks, got to his offensive play calling bag and started dialing up some of the most beautiful combinations of play calls that were just getting the guys that he wanted to get open. And Florida A&M got it done. They brought only the second, I believe, second or third Celebration Bowl victory. They brought only the second and third Celebration Bowl victory to the SWAC. It took a MEAC team to bring down the MEAC, right? I'm not gonna forget about it. Florida A&M for years upon years upon years was a MEAC team, the same as Bethune-Cookman. I'm not going to take that away from them. It took the MEAC team to get it done because the SWAC teams, even the Coach Prime teams that were stacked with guys who possibly going to play on Sundays, could not get it done 2 years in a row for whatever reason. But now we're sitting here and I'm looking and as the reports come out of the attendance, 50,000, I believe, in attendance, and all merch outside in the front being sold, and all different things that are being done. I'm thinking about all the money that rolled through the Celebration Bowl, and then the fact that each team is guaranteed $1 million. I heard that each team guaranteed at least. Let me put that on there. At least $1 million. It could be more. It got me started thinking about what about the players, right? Where's the players? What about the players? Where can the players benefit? Don't tell me NIL. Don't tell me NIL. Because NIL is not NIL. People are not getting paid for their name, their image, and likeness. They're getting paid because they can play. These guys are signing NIL deals, and then I never see them doing anything. Outside of the people who are signing massive mega deals with entities that we know, but I'm seeing these people with NIL deals that are just getting money. Okay, cool. I'm with it. I'm cool with it. I like it. But when are we going to start adding the players into the money pot that they get for these postseason games? Hey, you want to revive the bowl games? Start attaching money to the players, right? And they won't exempt. They won't sit out on you. Give them a chance to make a quick $50,000 for one game. Give them a chance to make a good, 25, 30,000 for one game. So I had a proposal. If the teams get $1 million, you know, that's $2 million. Take another $2 million and disperse it to the players. Everybody on the travel list gets 10 grand. That means 10 grand in the pockets of every player that traveled for Florida A&M and every player that traveled for Howard. The winning team, Florida A&M, they get an extra 5 grand bump. That comes out to approximately $2 million, maybe even less. If you can find a $2 million sponsor, right? If you can find somebody willing to sponsor this and give each team $1 million, you can be able to find somebody to sponsor this and give each team $2 million and stroke a check for those players immediately. Do you know how turned up that game would be? Do you know how lit that game would be if you just gave these players 15 grand? Imagine the seniors who are about to leave out, who are never going to play football again, or who want to play football and want to get their names out there, but they don't have enough money to be able to afford to get around the different events and stuff that's going on that might put them on the map. They don't have the money to be able to afford trainers. Now, hey, if you want to use your 15,000 to pursue that dream, cool. But you know the better part, the thing that I like even more, you get them 15K to walk out with and start whatever it is that they want to do with the rest of their life. If that's football, great. If it's real estate, guess what? You got 15 grand to be able to drop on a property as a down payment. You got 15 grand that you can use to put down or to use and do renovations. You have a business that you want to start. You got 15K to do it. This isn't just about paying the players. This is about giving the players the opportunity to do whatever's next with their career. And I believe there should be stuff in place everywhere for everybody, proportionate to the money that can be generated. You can't tell me that you are reporting numbers of 50 and 60,000 people at the Celebration Bowl like I don't have a calculator in front of me. Like I don't have a calculator in front of me. Like I can't just sit here and go, okay, there's 50,000 people coming. That's the attendance, right? If I times that 50,000 by $30 and say that the average ticket was $30, that's $1.5 million right there. But there's no way that the average ticket comes out to $30 because they're paying way more than that to be down there close to the field or on the 50-yard line or up in one of those boxes in them suites. Right? It's a simple Google search to figure out how much is the average ticket for the Celebration Bowl. Right? I take a Google search. Guess how much the average ticket is for the Celebration Bowl? The average ticket price is $59. So now I just put the $59 in according to SeatGeek. The average ticket is $59, right? How many people attended the Celebration Bowl? It says that the Celebration Bowl last year, the 2022 Celebration Bowl numbers was 49,670, right? I saw somewhere that said, and I guess I mean, I'm assuming that it's somewhere in here. Like, go ahead and look for it in your favorite Twitter thing where we can look at the Celebration Bowl attendance. since all of this is made public because they want to stunt on how many people were at the Celebration Bowl, right? So the official attendance for the Celebration Bowl 2023, 41,109. So that's down from last year because there's no Coach Prime there, right? But still better than anything else that you've had out there. That's $2.425 million just in the attendance. That does not include concessions. That does not include merch. All of that other stuff. You telling me you can't find $2 million to get to these players? Not gonna believe it. And for all of you people sitting back thinking that, oh well, why doesn't he do this? I believe this for every level, including Division 3. If you're getting money, share that money with the players, especially because those players in Division 3 are not there on scholarship, right? Especially because they're not there on scholarship. It just only seems right to me. What else seems right to me is that the NFL has figured out a way, right? They figured out a way to have you like really locked in all the time. And why? Because they have mastered the art of switching the narrative week to week. The moment that you're off something, we just switch to whatever you're on that week. So we always have the juice going. Last week, it was Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets, right? He could possibly turn into a starter. After a bad game, it's we need a quarterback. It's the entire quarterback room is terrible. It went from, oh, well, Daniel Jones could be to, oh, well, Tommy can be to the entire room is terrible. And what's interesting about that to me, Tyrod Taylor's never been terrible. He's never been terrible there. Right? Has he been the greatest when they threw him in like in nope, but he's never been terrible. And he's never had the opportunity to show that he can be the man like they gave to Tommy Cutlets. This isn't a diss versus Tommy DeVito. It's just an acknowledgement of he is who he is. He's limited. And while we all keep talking about, oh, he's undrafted and he's a rookie, well, he's undrafted for a reason. He's a 25-year-old rookie for a reason, right? Even the ones that are good, they're older rookies for a reason. You know why? Because it took them longer. It took longer for somebody to figure out who they were. It took them longer for them to figure out who they were. Like, for instance, the two guys, Michael Penix, it took them longer to figure out that he was him. Bo Nix, it took him longer to figure out that he was him. But it still took both of them longer. So they're going to be older than your average rookie coming into the league. They're probably going to be 23, 24. That happens. But that also means we can't be waiting on you dudes. You already late to the party. You're already late to the party. Y'all can't sit out here and tell me that Jameis Winston's career is over with. He's barely 30. But then tell me that Tommy DeVito has a whole lot of time. That's not how this works. So the NFL does a great job of turning things over. You want to know what also? The NFL and social media do a fantastic job of pushing the negative narrative. I do a thing for Giants Country. It's my own little thing, but I do it on Giants Country a lot. It's called The Good, the Great, the Ugly. That's when I break down elements of a player's game, either based off of that game or an overall evaluation of them, where I look at their good stuff, I look at what they're great at, and then I look at the stuff that they need to improve on because it's ugly. Every time I do this, because of restrictions that they have with video and replaying like copyrighted video, I put out the clips on Twitter so that I can then take that Twitter and pop it into my article so that you can see the video clips along with the commentary that I'm writing in the article, right? That's how I do it for print. So I do that. And I release the good, the great, and the ugly of Tommy DeVito all within 10 to 15 minutes of each other. Right now, looking at my Twitter, right? Looking at the post, looking at my post. When I look back at my good, my great, and my ugly, right? My and then a few hours later, I released a video that had a beautiful play call by the Giants, and I diagrammed it. I had audio to it. I talked through it, right? These 4 videos that I released. My good video, right? A good video got to this date, right now, has 488 views, 488 impressions, engagement 32, details explained 5, profile visits 6. My great has even less. 428 impressions, 30 engagements, 8 detailed explains, 2 profile visits. My ugly video currently has 49,000 impressions, 1,226 engagements, 252 detailed expands, 220 profile visits, right? 9,699 unique views, 24 retweets, 109 likes, and 40 comments on it. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a giant Twitter follower, right? So how is it that one video is so much more than the others? You know why? Because that's what they want you to see. They want you to see the negative. They want you to consume the negative because the negative sells. Man, people in my mentions, oh, take it easy on the guy. I'm like, yo, I gave him 2 videos of good, one of good, one of great, and then the third was of the ugly. You only responded to the ugly. Oh, well, that's all they put on my timeline. Yeah, but when you go to my ugly video and you scroll down to the bottom of it, you know what it shows you? Other posts. And the other posts that I show you are my good ones. But nobody gives a damn about the good. Nobody gives a damn about the great. The engagement is in the ugly. And that is why so many people out there choose to troll, because trolling is profitable, because hate is profitable, because arguments and dislikes and disagreements is profitable. That is how we've come to understand and know social media. It's all of the bad. Social media has become the flesh, and the flesh is weak. Like, y'all gotta stop fooling yourselves. You gotta stop fooling yourself. The NFL does a fantastic job of this. Continue to hit on the negative narratives, as long as it's not negative stuff that'll cost us money. As long as it's just engagement, do it. Dak Prescott's an MVP 1 week, has 2 bad weeks, he's no longer an MVP. Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, couple bad weeks, no longer an MVP. Yet Josh Allen is having one of his worst seasons, and yet somehow people still think he's going to end up as an MVP candidate. Brock Purdy had weeks where he looked terrible, and yet he's still number 1 in MVP voting. Lamar Jackson's been sitting out here stacking Great win after great win after great win after great win, had one MVP season, and then after that has done essentially the similar stuff and has not received a sniffing of an MVP vote since. How? Because his story, there's no negative to pull on. He's not fighting with anybody. He's just doing him. You want to know the most engagement that Lamar Jackson got was when he was holding out for his contract. That is when everybody that was supposedly fans showed who they really were. He doesn't deserve this money. He doesn't put up numbers like Justin Herbert. Well, wait a minute. If I keep saying that QB wins is not a stat, but you keep telling me that QB wins are a stat because you keep using it to talk about all of the other quarterbacks, then if that's the case, then Lamar Jackson should make all the money. Why? Because he just goes out there and finds a way to win games. You want to know why he doesn't win more MVPs? Because he doesn't care about the credit. He doesn't care that he is not. Like, you can hear it in Josh Allen's voice. He didn't like the fact that Buffalo won the game without him. He didn't like the fact that he was just a passenger in the car. Lamar Jackson is 100% happy being a passenger in the car if the car is going to a win. He doesn't want to put up all of the numbers to say, hey, I did my job. That's not who he is. But those narratives don't sell. And so we don't hear about those narratives. It only sells when we can spin something negative to it, when we can have some type of debate, some type of controversy. They said early in the year, they used on First Take was Lamar Jackson worth the money. Was he worth the money? Not Justin Herbert, not Joe Burrow, not Josh Allen. Him. They've asked similar things about Dak Prescott. They've done similar things to Jalen Hurts. They do it all the time. They do it all the time in Cleveland. Why? Because we can. Because it's easy. Because nobody's going to stop it. Because this is what engagement is. And it's ugly. That's why you gotta like that's why you have to pull back from football sometimes. You have to love it from a distance sometimes. Because if not, you get consumed in it as well. You get consumed in it as well. I know people who are dropping a weekly mock draft. And every week the mock draft is different, even though no games have been played. Nothing has changed. And yet the mock draft is different. Why? Because you need something to argue about. So I'm going to put this dude to this place that I know he shouldn't go, but I'm going to put him there because it's going to be great engagement and you're going to be able to argue. Ta-da! That is what we do. That is how we do it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Talk Spicy. Do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. And if you're joining me on the YouTube channel, make sure you like, subscribe. If you're joining me on Facebook, if you're joining me on Twitter, if you're joining me on Instagram, I appreciate you. Until next time, peace.